Welcome to the Real Estate Espresso Podcast, your morning shot of what's new in the world of real estate investing. I'm your host, Victor Menashe. On today's show, we're talking about the impact of the election in the U.S. Let's ask a simple question. As a landlord, do you screen your tenants based on political party affiliation? Well, I already know the answer. Of course you don't. That would be just as illegal as discriminating on the basis of gender or skin color or religious beliefs. You can't paint an entire state a single color. California has a reputation of being staunchly liberal, but they passed a politically conservative Proposition 22 that would exempt Uber and Lyft drivers from being classified as employees. This is sure to create a new legal minefield in the years to come as more businesses seek exemptions from the law enacted last year that classified contract workers in the gig economy as full-time employees with all of the rights and obligations of full-time employment. With 64% of the polls reporting as of this morning, Joe Biden had received 65.2% of the popular vote in California. That leaves a third of the California population having voted for Donald Trump. 65.2% of voters in Oklahoma voted for Donald Trump, and a third of the population having voted for Joe Biden. Now, the rhetoric about civil war is ridiculous. There's no enemy. They're your neighbor, or your son, or your cousin, maybe your spouse, or mother, or father. The tragedy is that whoever wins, there'll be roughly half the country disappointed in the outcome. Now, you may not agree with their opinion, but you must defend their right to have their opinion no matter what. That's the essence of a free society. But even in a free society, there's got to be limits. Remove all the rules and you risk chaos and anarchy. The state of Oregon became the first state in the nation to decriminalize the possession of all illegal drugs and to legalize the use of the active ingredient in hallucinogenic mushrooms. Oregon's Measure 110 makes possession of any controlled substance, including heroin, cocaine, and methamphetamines, a violation punishable by a maximum fine of $100 or a completed health assessment. I know there's a raging debate about the best way to treat drug addictions across the country. Some believe in harm reduction as the path to reducing dependence. Others believe that outright banning of drugs is the path. And the truth is, there is no one-size-fits-all. I think one thing we can all agree on here is there's a widespread drug addiction problem in the U.S. Now, if I was a resident of Oregon, and I'm not, I would have voted in opposition to this particular proposition. The decision on whether to legalize marijuana was on the ballot in 11 states. Now, the emphasis in the election coverage seems to focus almost exclusively on the executive branch. But the true governance of the country is the result of all three branches of government. It requires the Congress, the Senate, and the White House. And as of this writing, the Democrats have retained control of the Congress. The Senate, while the votes are not fully counted, appears to be leaning towards the Republicans holding control of the Senate. It's looking like my pre-election prediction is going to be pretty accurate. There will be more printing of money, and there will be more legislative gridlock. Not talked about as much, there were about 100 Election Day propositions that were put in front of voters across the country. 3 states, Alabama, Colorado, and Florida, are deciding whether to restrict the right to vote only to U.S. citizens. Currently, Arizona and North Dakota limit the right to vote only to U.S. citizens. And frankly, this makes sense to me. Most other countries limit the right to vote only to those who are citizens. Colorado voted on whether to release thousands of wolves into the wild. The wolves were native to the area until hunting brought them to the brink of extinction. The state of California passed Proposition 24, which amends the current online privacy law. The California Privacy Rights Act, which passed with 56%, will significantly impact a lot of companies operating in California. And beyond that, once that rule is implemented in California, it may become the de facto standard across the U.S. The new rule affects the Consumer Privacy Act, which gives residents greater data privacy rights and more direct control of how their online data is used. And then finally, on the presidential race, it's looking like legal challenges are underway in at least 2 states, and a recount is going to happen in at least 1 state. This could be another election where the outcome is decided by the courts. The silver lining is there has not been any election violence so far. As you think about that, have an awesome rest of your day. Go make some great things happen. I'll talk to you again tomorrow.